Guys, it is officially the most wonderful time of the year, except for me, because I have seasonal depression. The sleigh bells are a-ringing, the chestnuts are a-roasting, and Hallmark is playing Christmas movies constantly, like all the time. This year for the Christmas season, they debuted 42 movies. If we assume each movie is an even 90 minutes, it would be approximately 3,780 minutes to watch them all, which is about 2.625 days. And that's just the 2023 catalog. Hallmark has been around since 2001, and they've been doing their Christmas movie special since 2009. So I don't want to do the math because then it gets really complex, but I'm guessing that's a lot of days. And that got me thinking, out of the hundreds and hundreds of movies that they've released, is there one that is definitively the worst? Like, even the most devoted fans of the Hallmark channel, even they're like, yeah, this was bad. But first, hi, I'm Kenna Ken, and welcome to the holiday special of me talking. If you're not subscribed, you can to join the Kens. That's what I call my subscribers. And we did it before the Barbie movie. And speaking of my Kens, how have the holidays been going for you guys? I'm currently in the process of moving, which is why I'm currently in a white void of space, but I made it festive. So this video is gonna be a little more chill because I'm lazy. I'm tired from moving. But you know what? It's okay, because you know who's also lazy? Hallmark. Okay, so there are so many Hallmark movies, it's almost impossible to find a complete list of them. I don't even think Hallmark themselves has a complete list of them. So I just took this list on IMDb that claims to have them all, and according to this list, the worst ranked Christmas movie is called A Christmas Wedding Tale. Perhaps you can infer from the title and the poster, but it was dogs. It was a talking dog movie.
A Christmas Wedding Tale.
I just want to feel the energy of your dogs.
Awkward.
I cannot emphasize how much I did not want to watch a talking dog movie. I didn't want to watch this so bad that I went to another list because I convinced myself that this list must not have had them all. There was some secretly worse movie with humans that they had neglected to add. But no, that list also had it as the worst. So then I went to another list, and then another, and then another. And every single one had this listed as the worst. So I genuinely think this is the worst ranked Hallmark Christmas movie. The reviews on this one are about what you would expect. Agony. Nothing but pain is brought upon with this movie. I feel a piece of my soul has been taken from me unwillingly, and all that is left to fill the void is the agony that is this movie. Please do not watch this. If you have any respect for yourself or for the people you care about, for there is nothing to be gained with this movie, only there to be lost within the infinite void that is A Christmas Wedding Tale. So I went to Hallmark's site to get a synopsis on it, and the only photo that they had was the blurriest photo. It's like, do they not have the original files for it? Because I feel like a screen grab from iMovie Player is going to be better than this photo. It made me hope that maybe it was like lost media, but no, I found it instantly on Tubi. So, Tubi, more like Poopy. So anyways, I watched this movie so you didn't have to. Not that you were going to. Let's get into it. So the movie starts out with narration from a character named Rusty.
My name's Rusty, and I hope you're in the mood for a good old-fashioned Christmas tale, because I've got one.
He sounds like he's on the verge of crying.
Please. I know I haven't booked anything but Allstate commercials in the last 5 years, but I'll do anything. Don't make me be a voiceover on a Hallmark movie. Begging will get you nowhere. Now get your ass in the booth, or else we're gonna put you to work as a PA. No, God, I'll do it. I'll do it. I hope you're in the mood for A Christmas Wedding Tale, because I've got one.
So Rusty is the dog of the woman getting married, Susan. His girlfriend is the poodle, a dog named Cherie, and she is the dog of the man, Jake. And they're basically the narrators. They pull up. I bet you're wondering how we got in this scenario.
We gotta go all the way back to the beginning.
So Susan is out walking Rusty. Basically, Susan is a museum curator. She's currently out of work and she's looking for a job in the East Coast in a big city. Because that's right, she's a city girl.
I'm a city girl.
I wonder if that's gonna change.
This guy is a strange part of the movie. His name is Pat, and his job is to look for jobs for Susan.
There's gotta be something available, Pat.
You hear that? That's not sleigh bells, that's the sound of crickets.
I don't know if they just let the actor for Pat do improv, because he just kind of rambles, and it's supposed to be funny, but it leaves me more confused than anything.
You need a job, huh? Well, you came to the right place, buddy. I'm going in a tunnel. Oh my gosh, oh, I'm losing you. Don't touch my fish. They're poisonous.
So in case you didn't pick up on the weirdness of that scene, let me act it out for you. You need a job? You've come to the right place. Oh no, I'm going through a tunnel. Don't touch my fish. They're poisonous. I think I just smacked my phone. It's a good thing I have Casetify. Could you imagine? He also wasn't about to touch the poisonous fish. So Rusty spots Cherie and he runs off and Susan chases after him. So this is how Jake and Susan meet.
Gotcha.
Sherry, I'll leave you for a minute and already you've made some friends here.
So then the Reverend enters the picture.
It's good to see you, Jake. Thank you, Reverend. How are you?
He's very obviously and badly dubbed over.
Listen, I gotta run.
Also, he instantly leaves.
Everything okay? See you guys later.
He really had no purpose in the scene, except to perhaps suggest that this meeting was an act of God. Jake reveals he works at a winery, and he invites Susan to come to the winery for a tour. And as a side note, they did not animate the dog's mouse when they speak.
I sat there watching for what felt like an eternity.
The thing is, there are moments when the dogs are both talking, thinking, and narrating. And they did no audio effects to distinguish between them. Sometimes it gets really confusing because you're like, are they speaking? Is this a part of the narration? Like in one moment, you'll have Sherry and Rusty being a familiar couple, and then the next you'll have Sherry fucking hating Rusty's guts.
This is an A and B conversation, so why don't you see your way out of it?
Actually, Sherry kind of hates Rusty always.
The next words out of her mouth could define my romantic destiny.
Ah, you can be so dramatic.
The pure fury that she delivered that line with. It wasn't like, you can be so dramatic. It was, you can be so dramatic.
She was all I could think about. Her gorgeous hair, the way her hindquarters shook when she walked.
Hey, there might be kids watching this.
Oh my God. They can let the straights do this with dogs, but we can't even have holding hands.
Oh, hey man, just so you know, I have the script done. Perfect. Yeah, if you just want to read it out. Okay, yeah, so my name's Rusty, and I'm a dog. You might be wondering how I got myself in this situation. Let's rewind. When I first met Shehi, I thought, man, that dog is bootylicious. Ooh, thick. And I'm not talking about their mane. Okay, hold. What is wrong with you? This is a movie for families? Oh, no, it's a girl dog. Sorry. They're actually straight dogs. So it's okay. So the next line is actually, we see a shot of Shehi. She is a poodle. So we instantly know that she's a girl. Also kind of a diva. Oh, well, that's fine. Yeah, so I have the out of work actor held captive in our booth. I'm thinking that we can get filming tomorrow. She tells her mom that she's going on a date with Jake, and her mom reacts in a completely normal way.
He offered to show me around the winery where he works.
The winery?
He works it, does he
own the winery?
Why did she deliver it this way? She's got such urgency. At this point, I'm thinking in my head, oh, this family is classist, because they don't want just a normal worker of a winery. He better be owning that thing. Luckily, he does. So at the same time that this scene is going on, we see Jake telling his friend Frank that he's going on a date with Susan.
And I told her I worked at a winery. I invited her over for a little tour.
You told her you work at a winery? You should say I own a winery.
Frank has the best deliveries in this movie. He acts like he's constantly high.
So did you get this whole thing clean?
I cleaned it. It's clean.
Hey.
What?
I met a girl at the dog park. She's beautiful. She's even got a little dog that can hang out with me.
And I honestly think he is.
It is during these two conversations that we learn both Susan and Jake have kids, and neither have told the other.
I didn't get a chance to talk about the kids.
Don't you watch Oprah? Sensitive guys are in, dude.
Says the guy who thought The Notebook was a comedy.
Did you say anything about the kids? Single mother, 3 boys. Some men might find that intimidating.
Yeah, so lie to him. I'm sure that'll produce a better result.
Susan and Jake go on this date, and Frank...
Hi, editing McKenna. I call Frank... I just did it again. I call Jake Frank so many times in this video that I'm just gonna dub it over every time it happens. Secondly, I do not know why my hair looks that greasy. It is disturbing. It is troubling. However, I'm not gonna refilm it. So,
and
Jake
almost instantly tells Susan that he actually owns the winery. So that just makes the mom's line even stranger.
Does he own the winery?
We also learn in a very brief mention that Susan loves Christmas.
Oh, Christmas. I love Christmas.
Yeah, me too.
And be prepared, because
Jake
is about to take this one single statement and make it Susan's whole personality. Also, her mentioning Christmas reminded me that this movie is a Christmas movie, and we haven't seen any Christmas yet. Jake invites her inside the winery to get dinner, but then the chef turns out to be Frank.
It's a special mixture of black truffles, sausage, and oyster stuffing in one stunning chicken. I'll be right back.
He leaves so suspiciously. I almost feel like that food is poisoned. He might not have poisoned this deliberately, but you're getting poisoned one way or another. There's like 5 meats in here. He did not know how to cook all of those meats properly. One of them is gonna harbor a disease. After an awkward silence, Susan mentions a really random fact.
Cookie Monster's first name?
Sid. Sid. Sorry, yeah.
We just watched Frank leave, and then we watched him come right back. Like he's just rushed across the entire building because he heard someone mention the Cookie Monster's first name. If the joke was framed like Frank's seated at the table with them, Jake's wingman as he tries to get back in the dating game after his dead wife, and he keeps interrupting thinking he's being jovial, but he's really just being a nuisance, then maybe that joke would work. But as it is, it just gives this image of Frank eavesdropping in the hopes that someone, at some point, will mention the Cookie Monster's first name. Susan goes to reveal that she has 3 children.
I have 3 boys.
I have 2 children.
What?
I can't believe you just said that. You don't know how worried I was to tell you that.
No, I was worried that you were, not that you were going to say it, but that I was.
oh my god, this shit is so boring. I hope someone mentions the Cookie Monster's first name soon.
All the conversations about, did you tell him that you have kids? Did you tell her that you have kids? It's irrelevant because they instantly tell each other they have kids. So it made you feel like it was setting something up, but it didn't.
And this is my oldest, just turned 11. Loves anything with a ball or a puck.
Oh, he's so handsome. What's his name?
Her name is Madison.
Is it girl?
If anyone said, it's a girl about my daughter, get out. Also, you owe me money for the tour. Susan has 3 boys. One is a computer geek. I don't know what he was doing on that computer, but it was something suspicious. One wants to be a chef, and then the other doesn't know what he wants to be yet. So he's got no personality. As you may know, when you're a kid, you pick out the thing that you want to be, and then that defines you for the rest of ever. That's why Jake is winery owner, Susan is curator, and Frank is jealous ex-boyfriend with the Cookie Monster hyperfixation. Then the date is over, Jake takes Susan home, there's a really awkward kiss.
Wow, you have frogs here.
Yeah.
And the boys are watching it, and they kind of have this look of disdain on their face. So you think they must not be happy that their mom's going out dating again. But actually no, because this kiss happens on the porch, and the boys are on the 2nd floor, and there's an awning in between that obstructs their view. So there's no way that they saw that kiss. So really, they're just looking at something completely unrelated. So if we take the movie at face value and assume that the kids did actually see them kiss and their looks were about Susan and Jake kissing, then you would imagine there would be some tension there where the boys get mad at their mom for moving on. But none of that happens. All we get is a montage. And in that montage, the kids meet and they seem totally cool and fine with Susan and Jake and totally cool with each other. And everyone just seems like really happy and everything's going really well. During this time, somehow Sherry and Rusty go from hating each other to loving each other, but they don't even get anything. They don't even get a montage. Then it's time for Thanksgiving. We're finally getting close to Christmas, and Jake decides to invite Susan's family over. The Thanksgiving is depressingly small, and it makes me think, where are these people people's families. Anyways, one of the girls releases her pet mouse, which causes mass panic, which leads to everything falling and crashing in a series of increasingly silly slapstick comedy. And then you think, oh no, the whole Thanksgiving is ruined. And it's gonna cause such tension between the two families, and no, none of that happens. They all laugh, and then they have PB and jelly sandwiches instead, and it crunches.
All right, guys.
Which is really concerning. Did Frank make these sandwiches? And then Jake proposes, which feels very out of the blue because they've known each other for less than a year. Jake proposes that they get married on Christmas because Susan loves Christmas. Yeah, she says she loves Christmas, but a lot of people love Christmas. It's not like a special personality trait to love a holiday. He also says it'll be perfect because everyone's in town.
Besides, the kids will be off of school. Everyone's going to be in town. It'll be perfect.
Which, firstly, who's everyone? I saw that Thanksgiving. Secondly, they're not here for you. I would be mad if I got invited to a wedding on Christmas. I'm not showing up. And then your anniversary is gonna be on Christmas, and you're just gonna make the whole thing about you. If you think you're getting 2 gifts from me, you're wrong. You're getting socks just like everybody else. Frank learns that Jake is getting married, and he gets really upset.
How are the girls taking it? Because I'm not taking it very well.
Why is Frank so upset?
Perfect.
You know,
It is not like he's upset because he's concerned about Jake. No, he's genuinely upset.
perfect. We're not 25. We don't need some ridiculous wedding.
Frank offers his band to play at the wedding for Jake, and this led to the only moment, and I mean the only moment, that made me smile. And that was purely due to Frank's delivery.
Come on, man. We just played the Renaissance Fair. And all the knights in the crowd were like, "Arr, thou art fine minstrels." But they didn't sound like pirates when they did it.
No,
I'll give you a massage.
this is a no.
But I love you.
Okay, I know. Depictions of healthy platonic relationships between men where they don't feel emasculated by telling each other that they love each other is really important in media. And I'm not trying to undercut that. But I don't think Frank means it in a platonic way. You guys saw how upset he was. So then Susan goes out to pick her wedding dress with the girls. Hijinks ensue. Afterwards, Susan is at home with her mom and she talks about how she feels like the girls don't really like her.
You can't expect them to fall in love with you overnight. Right now, they're just probably feeling totally invisible, like they don't have a say.
Which is very, very confusing because we just saw the exact opposite. So we are now 30 minutes in, and the only conflict we've got so far has been purely hypothetical. If you're wondering why I haven't brought up the dogs, it's because there's nothing to bring up. Rusty and Sherry do not have a role in this movie, despite being on the posters, being in the synopsis, being the reason why the title is a pun. I know, I said I didn't want a movie about talking dogs, and now I'm complaining that there's no talking dogs, but it is what was advertised. Pat calls. He tells Susan that he has a job interview lined up for her.
Chief curator of the New York Museum of Contemporary Art. They're gonna be in Los Angeles tomorrow conducting interviews.
Which, I don't know if that happens. Wouldn't a museum in New York want to conduct their interviews in New York so that they don't get stuck with someone who falls in love in a small town and throws her city life away? Susan decides to take the interview without telling Jake. In fact, I don't even think she's told Jake about her career plans. And while she's in traffic, she gets a call from Jake reminding her that they have interviews for their wedding coordination at 3 p.m. And you think, oh no, she's in traffic in LA. She's not getting back in time. She's going to miss something that is important to their relationship, potentially making Jake upset or disappointing him. And she's not going to tell him the real reason why. And no, none of that happens. She makes it back in time. These interviews are the worst part of the movie. And I'll tell you why. Instead of maybe going for normal interviews, they made every single candidate a stereotype. There is a black woman. This is the only black character in the film. And she is characterized...
Make your wedding fabulous. Now, I was thinking for decorations, it should be leopard. And then we could do booty shake, booty shake, booty shake.
But don't worry, because they also have the other side of the spectrum. A white Southern conservative.
What's nice about hay bales is they also double as a toothpick.
Who has one of the worst accents that I've ever heard.
Because you get that meat stuck in there and you just need a little toothpick to get out of the hay.
They also make fun of Italians.
Yeah, my cousin has this great restaurant. The meatballs there are to die for. Literally.
This guy's a cannibal. Oh, and the British. They also do make fun of the British.
We'd have horse-drawn carriages and runners down the aisle.
Scratch that. That's actually the worst accent that I've ever heard.
The bride should be married like a queen and treated like a queen, with the exception, of course, of subsequent beheading.
Hey, yeah, so I'm editing this. I didn't pick up on this while I was watching it, but they don't behead the queen unless this is like a reference to the French Revolution in the 1700s. Or maybe this is just some British custom that I don't know about. If you're British, let me know in the comments.
They even got Santa. And why is Santa applying? The wedding takes place on Christmas. That's like the one day of year you work. And honestly, I would applaud this small little town for being so diverse. If it wasn't the worst diversity I've ever seen.
I got a Bible for you. Hello.
Wow.
I also have to wonder if they just had the actors for Susan and Jake react randomly, because some of their reactions to what's happening in front of them doesn't really line up.
You guys need extra security? Because, I know a couple guys.
Really?
Good. No, that's
Really?
Well, really?
How is that an appropriate reaction? That guy cooks people into meatballs. They get back from the interviews and Rusty's just blabbing.
Aside from the hippies and the yogis, I would say that went pretty well. Personally, I'd go with the Santa Claus guy because that way there'll be presents at your wedding. I know someone at the dog park, Pepe. He could probably be inefficient at your wedding, but I'd have to see if his papers are in order. Oh, this is where we live.
Just to remind you that he's still there. Next scene, they are looking for a potential wedding venue. They go to a country club. The country club is like, no dogs. And they're like, these dogs are important. They're the reason why we met. And she's like, I don't care. And they're like, well, we have a lot of money. And she's like, okay, actually, the dogs are fine. Just watch them. And of course, Rusty and Shelly almost instantly act up. They see a stray dog and they start chasing the stray dog who didn't do anything. Rusty just goes apeshit over this guy. And at this point, you're probably thinking this is quite a predicament. They're not gonna get the venue. And what other venues are open on Christmas? You can't get married in a church, that's for sure. Booked and busy, I'll tell you that.
I can't believe she's gonna let us have the event at the country club after all that.
They get the wedding venue. This is so boring. This is just rich people being completely content in life. I'm beginning to suspect that the writer thinks feel-good movies means the characters feel good all the time. I would actually accuse this of being written by AI if it wasn't produced in 2011. Susan reveals to Jake that her mom's antique store has been going under. I thought that Jake would offer her money to keep the store, but he instead offers her something that is more valuable: advice.
You just gotta figure out how to get some butts in this place. Do something you know. Do something.
What? Okay, so apparently he means Christmas, but I'm gonna be honest, I would not think of Christmas when I see that gnome. You need to figure out a way to get people in here. Do something you know. Do something you love. I don't love that. No, I meant flowers. You like flowers, right? I gave you some and you said you loved them. Yeah, because you gave me flowers. I wasn't gonna say that I hate them. Also, how does that even remotely help my situation? Yeah, so Jake's plan is to basically decorate the front of the antique store, and that'll somehow attract the thousands of hundreds of thousands of tourists that I imagine this small suburban Californian town gets every year. As if that's not just a normal thing for businesses to do. Like, I've never seen a business decorate their exterior for Christmas. If I did, you bet your ass I would have walked in and spent thousands of dollars. So there's a montage of them setting up the store, making it look really pretty, and it makes me question where'd they get all this money for these decorations? Why didn't they just use that for the bills? Also, I do want to backtrack this and point out another weird reaction the mom has.
Hey, do you need a hand?
No. Okay, here we go.
Her reactions are not human. And then we're back to wedding stuff. They're testing out bands for their wedding, and it's just Jake and Susan being assholes again. Frank actually goes first, and he's good. Silent night, holy night.
Well, they do have a certain je ne sais quoi.
So I don't know why they're acting like Frank is untalented. Now we're doing cake testing. We're gonna see every single aspect of this wedding. Ryan doesn't want to go in because he still is upset about his dad dying. And Jake has a heart-to-heart with him.
So you're not so thrilled about
Your mom and I getting engaged, huh? I get it. I think my daughters would agree with you.
We've seen his daughters do nothing but bond with Susan. I don't know why they're trying to make this a plot point.
I'm not trying to replace him. I couldn't. It'd be impossible.
Because he's dead.
And one thing I'll guarantee you is that I won't leave you.
He said that too.
Hey. See, let's go in and get some cake.
And one thing is that I'll never leave you. He said that too. Okay. Did not ask. Now, let's get going. I got some cakes to eat.
Also, you cannot guarantee a kid that. I don't mean to be morbid, but you could literally get hit by a bus walking into that cake testing place. Or you might get divorced to the woman you decided to marry after 3 months. Rusty somehow smells the cake through the building and through the car. How smelly is that cake? This prompts him to break out and sneak into the kitchen and eat the full cake.
What was that?
Why is she freaking out? She's seen nothing. She's only heard a pot fall over. It makes me think, like, is this place haunted? Does it get robbed often? Why is she reacting with such anger and fear? What? She went from being a normal worker to Cruella de Vil. She chases the dogs throughout the kitchen and then leads them out into the tasting area. And then she assumes that the dogs belong to Susan and Jake because they run to them.
Are those your animals?
Obviously, yeah, they are their dogs, but she has no reason to suspect that. She is the one who chased the dogs to them.
Do you have any idea what they have done to my kitchen?
Nothing. The kitchen looks fine. Susan gets a call from Pat, who tells her that she's got the curator job. She finally comes clean to Pat that she's actually getting married on Christmas. And Pat gives an excellent speech.
Go to New York City, the job of your dreams, running the second biggest art museum on the East Coast. You deserve this position, and I would hate to see it go to somebody else, Susan.
It's played off like Pat is the one in the wrong here, but he was kind of spitting facts.
This whirlwind romance, spur of the moment stuff is fake. It's not real. It doesn't exist. It's a movie.
Susan has 12 hours to decide whether or not she's gonna take the job. And so she finally comes clean to Jake.
Let's go inside. New York?
And she's acting like Jake is completely in the wrong, like he's being totally unreasonable for not wanting to uproot his girls' lives and leave his family's vineyard behind.
This is the only home that my kids know. Their friends are here. Their school is here.
I understand, but they can make new friends. That's what kids do.
This place has been in my family for 40 years. 40 years.
I am not a small town person.
You really should have said this before you decided to marry a man from a small town. You put yourself in this position, girl.
You have the winery. What do I have? What defines me other than mom?
Wife?
I wish I had been recording the second I got to this moment, because if you could have seen the way I've reacted, I audibly gasped. The way I switched sides so fast. It's so upsetting because women already struggle with only being defined as their relationships to other people, specifically as a mom or as a wife. Women can be lots of different things. You can be a mom, a wife, and a daughter. So Jake is hurt and calls off the wedding.
It's like when we make a bottle of wine. First, you gotta cultivate and grow the grapes. Then you gotta check the sugar content to make sure you're harvesting them at the right time. Then you ferment them. You age it for months, and then you bottle it. And only then, you know you have the perfect bottle of wine.
Thought I had the perfect bottle.
Frank's wine speech is not about Susan. It's so about Jake. He's trying to confess again.
First, you gotta cultivate and grow the grapes. Then you gotta check the sugar content to make sure you're harvesting them at the right time. Then you ferment them. And then, and only then, you know you have the perfect bottle of wine.
Then we see a montage of all their good times together that we actually didn't even see in the first place. So this is just a montage of a montage. Jake breaks it to the girls that they're not getting married and they're upset. He's shocked by this.
I didn't know that it mattered so much to you two.
Yeah, you've been convincing yourselves that these girls hate Susan when they've been nothing but cordial to Susan. So Rusty and Sherry devise a plan to get Susan and Jake back together, which, how are they doing that? Are they talking on the dog telephone? And their plan is really nonsensical. So it's basically they just both run off, get the children to chase after them, and then they run to the same spot. And then they're gonna basically hope that the children decide to get Susan and Jake back together, which they have no reason of knowing that the kids are gonna wanna do that. I mean, everyone seems to believe that the girls hate Susan. What I was thinking they were gonna do was they were both going to get Jake and Susan, and then they were going to run to the same spot that they met. And that's gonna remind them of their initial feelings for each other. But I don't know, I think that's too much of like a plot for this movie.
What are you doing here? I don't know. Rusty brought us here. Right. Your dog just happened to bring you here at the same time we're here?
I don't know why the kids are like, you're lying. You just watched that happen.
Quiet! Stop arguing! He's right. It's not about whose fault it is. It's about what we're gonna do about it.
He did not say all of that. They decide to go to Santa to ask him to make the wedding a go. Santa sneaks behind them in the creepiest way possible.
Well, hello, children.
Santa tells them to bring Jake and Susan to the Christmas festival, and he'll see what he can do. So basically, Santa's just promoting this event to these children. Also, I really truly believe that Santa's on hard times, because first he was interviewing for a wedding coordinator, and now he's handing out flyers. Inflation is crazy. I can only imagine what the North Pole costs like to heat. Frank is playing at the fair, so he's made it big. Oh, he's not good enough to play at your wedding, Jake. Now he's playing at the town's Christmas festival for about 25 people. That's more people than the amount of people who are probably going to show up for your wedding. So Jake agrees to go to New York. I would have been way more interested with that story. Hallmark has made hundreds and hundreds of movies where the city girl has to give up her life so that she can get married to the small town guy. I would love to see just one where the small town guy has to give up his life for the city girl. Call me a feminist.
You guys gonna get married or what? Do it.
I love that Frank says, do it, like it's a dare. They planned the wedding, but everything is closed, and they actually lost the country club when they canceled the wedding, which makes the whole scene where they're like, oh, I can't believe we actually got the country club, pointless. At this point, I wanted it to be done so badly, but Tubi's video player is so bad, it would play 10 seconds, and then it would start buffering again, and I would have to wait 5 minutes for it to go again and play another 10 seconds. It made the last 2 minutes a half hour. So they have the wedding at the vineyard. People actually show up. Pat shows up, which makes me question his relationship to Susan. It is Christmas. Why is he at his clientele's wedding?
We're gonna like live it here.
And why is Pat moving there? Is he because Susan's moving there? What is Pat's relationship to Susan? I don't understand.
Someday I'm gonna have to tell you the story of what happened when they all first moved in together. Trust me, folks, you don't want to miss that one.
I do want to miss that one. And so do a lot of others. This never got a sequel, and I honestly do understand why this is the worst ranked Hallmark movie. This movie, which is advertised as a Christmas movie with talking dogs and a wedding, has barely any talking dogs, barely any Christmas, and way too much of a wedding. At this point, I just want to stop talking about this movie, and I never want to think about it again. So if you've made it this far, consider subscribing to join the Kens. My Kens, I hope you have a happy holiday. I don't think I'm gonna be posting a video before New Year's, so I will see you guys in 2024. And thanks for watching. All right, bye.